Welcome. Today's a special episode. Today, instead of doing a regular post-match review, fuck the post-match review. Today, we're going to highlight the issues within our squad. From the directors, to the owners, to the manager, to the players, everyone's getting held accountable. And how we're going to fix this going into next season. Because you guys told me after the United games, these guys were the best players in the world. Oh, Enzo can start for everyone. Oh, Disasi won't beat or Black John Terry. Oh, Palmer's the best player in the world. No. We're calling this all out. Because we were 95 minutes in. 3-2 down at home. Crisis mode. We managed to salvage a win. Well done. But you lot already were papering over the cracks and enabling this mess once again. I was alone on this war. I was telling people I'm disgusted with the fact that this was the case. I was happy with the win. We're crashing everyone today. Today, welcome to Baehelpsports special edition. We're going to title this episode Emergency Meeting. Emergency Meeting, problems with the squad, how to fix them. Because I've had enough. I don't get excited. I've watched this team for so long. I saw the ball go in the back of the net today, and I didn't feel anything inside. There wasn't there wasn't none of that today. It was none of that. I saw it go in. I said, this could be offside. I noticed it wasn't. I said, right. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised whatsoever. Because I've been saying this. Even after the United game, I was the only one that wasn't happy with our performance. I was the only one saying it was a disgrace that we bottled a 2-goal lead. After being leading 2-0 at 25 minutes, by half-time it's 2-2. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Then we're 3-2 down in the 95th minute. I'm crashing everyone. Management, players, you name it. We salvage a result. And I saw every single one of you lapping it up. All our players are the best in the world again. All our players are this and that and that. I'm seeing so many comps of Enzo on my timeline. I'm seeing comps. I'm seeing everything. Oh, trust the process. This team, they're shit. But you guys enable them. You guys will do anything to say that they're not accountable. And you guys could also turn on me and say, you don't address all the problems. You think it's all on the players. Which I don't. But you know when the voice of this fan base is so loud on gassing all the players, I have to make it very clear on what it is. But this episode is a special episode. This episode is my manifesto on what issues we are facing with the club that need to be addressed. That needs to be addressed as a fan base, as a collective, because it's getting out of hand. Now for me, the elephant in the room, what we need to address as a whole is the under-25s model. The sporting model of our club is a joke. We got rid of all the experienced winners in our team. The identity of our team, the culture, has been stripped out for under-25s model to lower our wage bill. And you guys celebrated this. Now, Egbali and Todd Bowley and whoever the other third director is, good job to him. He's hiding out of the cup, but he will appear soon to get his 20 million a year check. Because when these are running around saying, oh yeah, Bowley's stepping down, oh it's not Bowley, he's taking the back seat, it's Egbali. That's like me saying, oh, Satan isn't that bad, guys. It's Lucifer that's causing all the problems. They're the same evil. Alas, they've come in, their model was, we're bringing in the best young players in the world based on potential. We're willing to spend a fuckload of money on it because we want to have a sustainable club where success is sustainable, slap them on an 8-year contract, etc. I was already skeptical with that, considering we have never been a team who buys on potential. We have always been a team who demand the best of the best. We want to win today. I don't care if I have to sack a manager mid-season to win. I want to win now. I don't care if I want to spend 50 million on Torres in January. I want to win now. That's Chelsea. So now if you rewind back to January 2023, when the board was set up and the under-25 model was really put into play, we signed Enzo Fernandez, we signed Caicedo for 115 million, we've signed Nkunku, we've signed Mudryk, Noni, etc. I've said already countless times we've downgraded in terms of the squad. We can get into that. But for me, in terms of this under-25 model, why are we not targeting the creme de la creme of under-25 players? I.e. the Jude Bellinghams, who we knew was good enough, who showed himself in the Championship, who showed himself in the Bundesliga, in the top 5 league, who played Champions League football and showed himself at a high level, knockout Champions League football also, and showed this kid is good enough. Why did we buy him? Why didn't we target the likes of Rodrigo instead of Mudryk, who we didn't know a year ago? Because Enzo, this is the theme. We bought Enzo. We didn't know him a year ago. We bought Mudryk. We didn't know him a year before we signed him. We bought Caicedo. We didn't know him a year before we signed him. Ugochukwu, we didn't know. Desasi, Bajashil, Petrovic, they didn't exist. If we went back 2 years and we told them these guys would be starting for us every week, you would have had no clue who the fuck they were and you would have been worried. But you guys enabled this mess. We're going to highlight, we've got so many problems we're going to highlight. This is going to be a long video. So now for me, we didn't get the creme de la cremes, the Musialas, the Bellinghams. If you're running an under-25 model, why are you not going for the creme de la creme? If this is what it is, this is our model now. The directors need to be held accountable. This is the model. We have this much money to spend. Why are you not targeting the creme de la cremes? Because January 2023, we were still playing Champions League football, chasing top 4. Jude Bellingham, Musiala. Do you know what I'm saying? Declan Rice. The elites. Why are you bringing me strangers? Mudryk. Enzo, 6-month review from River Plate. Nothing to him, but you know what I'm trying to say? Caicedo, we didn't know a year ago. I want world beaters at my club. Look, I'm losing my voice. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this. How many days a week do I dedicate my voice, my mental health, because of my Cronenberg sponsorship, my liver, just so I can spread the word that the standards are going through a cliff? And what happens now, because of this under-25 models, the directors have spent stupidly on, by the way, but this under-25 models, when I call out that the players aren't good enough, when you guys say you want Sterling sold, who is our best natural winger in the team and is still having a better season today than Noni and Mudryk have in their lifetime, your rebuttal is they're young. They're young though. Why are you treating them like this? I expect more from Sterling, but these men are young. If you expect more from experienced players, bring me experienced players who can challenge at a competitive level amongst each other. Instead of, oh, they're young though. Oh, but they're young though. We've established now this Enzo Caicedo pivot don't work. But we have to play them every week because they cost so much money. And then if you look at the alternatives, the Lavias, the Ugochukwus, and up until recently, Carney, no one in that midfield can play but them. But that goes to the squad building. So anyway, my first issue is I crashed the owners for the under-25s because now our standards are lowered. We can't even get players in their prime, as in 27, 28 years old, because we're turning our nose on it. If we was to buy it, our standards are so fucked right now. If we was to buy a player that's 27 or be linked to a striker that's 28, everyone's going to say, oh my gosh, he's old. I don't want to buy him, he's old. What? Then I'm getting on to the directors because at the end of the day, even though these are clowns and stripped us all the experience out of our squad and all of these things, at least, at the very least, they provided the bread to invest. Them man, the directors, fumbled the peas when Stanley Lawrence Stewart need to be held accountable. Now this sporting model has been such a problem that top managers don't want to join us anymore. The best players in the world don't want to join us. Our wage bill, we're not attracting the best players. Look at the situation we are on the league table and everything that's going on. The fact that every player that's come here, their stock and reputation has plummeted. It needs to change. No one wants to come here. That's the truth. We can't attract the best of the best anymore. In terms of management, who was linked to Nagelsmann, who didn't want to join the club because he didn't agree with the model. Because you don't have a say on who joins the club. They are doing their scouting through data and bringing in no names. This is what you guys are not taking into account. That's why I have an issue with this model. That's why the model needs to change. That's why, as a fan base, instead of doing poch, because we will get into a poch and I'm going to explain what he's been doing wrong too, because I'm holding everyone accountable. There's no favorites here. Trust me, no agendas. This conversation ain't an agenda. It's just the uncomfortable truths. That model is the biggest issue. We're losing a generation of fans now. We're losing a generation of fans now. The next for the 5 to 10 years coming in, Arsenal have lapped us in London right now. If a big player wants to come to London, because that's the appeal that we have as Chelsea, is London. Arsenal are giving higher wages, are challenging for the title, have experienced players in their team, have a culture, and play Champions League football. Manchester City have lapped us. They've got more league titles, more trophies won than us. If they want to join, if the players want to come to England, come to the Premier League, because that's another thing that was going for us, they could go there. How long till Spurs lap us now? We're losing a generation of fans. World-class players will not join us. Top managers will not join us. This is a problem. Now, that's only 1 out of 6 problems which I'm addressing in this video. This video, we are going to highlight the management, the directors, the ownership and their model, the players' ability, and how we can move forward. I've highlighted the model and the directors. Now, on to the next, because you guys can say to me, CB, you don't understand. This is the rebuttal. What they try to do is bring in young players and have a sustainable model where they can flip peas and we can still invest in our squad. Now, I look at all the players we brought in. We start from the very top of the top players that we brought in. Enzo Fernandez is stock. We signed him for 105 million. Can we make profits on that? And has his stock not dropped? It has. Caicedo, 115 million. Are we making a profit on that, or has his stock not dropped? It has. Modric, 88 million. Are we making a profit on that? And has his stock not dropped? It has. You look at Andre Santos, 35 million. We wasted 6 months of his development because he couldn't get a minute in Nottingham Forest. Has his stock dropped? Or are we making profit? No one's buying him for more than 35 million from us. It's dropped. Casadei, who was at Leicester City, they wanted him gone, which I think was a good loan championship. They wanted him gone. We brought him in. We wasted 6 months of his development. Broja, who we want to sell, he's in a dry loan in Fulham with no option to buy, no buy options whatsoever. He's not even making matchday squads. I was meant to get 30 million for him. His stock's dropped. Angelo, David Washington, who we got for 20 million, has only played 8 PL2 games. He don't even start for our under-23s team. 20 million. You couldn't even get him a top loan. We wasted his development for a year. How is the stocks rising? How does this show me this model is actually working at any capacity? That's number 2. Thirdly now, this is something that our fan base doesn't talk about enough. For some reason, we debate managers and players. The truth is, we have a financial black hole looming. 250 million is required to be raised for FFP reasons by June the 30th. When you have discussions with the fan advisory board or whoever runs them spaces, them brown envelopes, no disrespect to them, but you have been paid by them in the past, so I'm going to refer to you as a brown envelope, not saying that you guys are now before I get threatened with a lawsuit again, because this happened. You guys talk about the board been saying that they've made positive steps. You guys say you've had conversations with the board, but you're talking about fan engagement. But you're not talking about the black hole in our finances. The fact that we have to sell academy players for pure profit. I.e. the likes of Gallagher, which I'm not mad at. If it was the case, just bring me top players in replacement. The Lewis Halls, the Matsons, etc. We need to raise £250 million. If we was in Champions League football right now today, we'll be suffering more fines and more harsher penalties. So then when you guys do say that positive steps have been made forward, and when you do talk to the board, what positive steps? Is this a positive step that we are 12th or 10th in the league in April? That we're on relegation form, we got 40 points, we can clap up, we're not getting relegated again, but we're in the sewers. If it was competing in the Champions League, you'd be in trouble. The stocks of all these players you're trying to sell is low. You have no leverage power because everyone knows the June 30 deadline. How are we going to raise 250 million? Honest questions. No one talks about this stuff. Because what's really happening is that we're going through Leeds' trajectory. With the looming financial hole that we are faced with, 250 million needs to be raised by June the 30th. And the fact that we've spent £1 billion, this is 2 years now, we're not going to be in European football. And if we do qualify for the Europa League by winning the FA Cup by some sort of miracle, we still are not in the upper echelon of European football. And if we was to qualify for the upper echelon of European football, we would be suffered with fines. So the way I'm looking at it is reminding me very much of Leeds in the 2000s. For those of you that don't know, Leeds were competing in the Champions League finals in 2005, not 2005, in 04-03. They were a regular team that was challenging for top 4 regularly in the early 2000s. They had top players, Les Ferdinand, all of these guys for Heritage. Now, you look at their situation a couple years later because of their finances and their owners spending so much money, being over-ambitious, putting money in the wrong places. It bit them in the arse. They couldn't pay players' wages and so forth. And before you know it, we were relegated. They were relegated. They didn't come back until Bielsa. And they've dropped down again. So that was what? Maybe 12 years in lower leagues before they rose. Leeds are Heritage. Leeds are a top English team. They have history. They are a club of great stature. And they went down due to financial stupidity and stubbornness. You can run around and say, oh yeah, Clear Lake, they're owned by a private equity firm. We should trust them when it comes to finances. Private equity firms and banks caused a recession in 2008. Since when do we put so much trust in them all of a sudden now? Because they're running our football club. These are issues that need to be spoken about. I haven't done my due diligence fully to know what's going on because they've kept us in the dark with what's going on with the finances. You hear a couple briefs here and there on TalkSport and all of that because, of course, rivals want to see us in the mud, but these are things that need to be addressed. They've all come out and self-reported claims from Marina and Roman Abramovich era to save face. And also by doing that, what they're doing is going to fans, is making fans believe Roman and Marina are the reasons why we are in this position that we're in today. That is not the case. I want to make that very clear. That is not the case. They're just trying to do some PR to save them. I wrote some notes for my manifesto, so I'm just going to refer to my notes. So far I've covered the ownership, the directors, and the financial model, the assets dropping, and the financial order. Then I want to talk about the disconnect between the ownership and the fan base. Because as it pertains to Pochettino, for example, the truth is, there's been a disconnect with the fan base and the ownership for a long time. I think it began from when they sacked Tuchel, to be honest with you, knowing that we had a personal bond with Tuchel, knowing our history of Chelsea as a club and our owners. I mean, when it comes to a management situation, we've always had rocky road. It's very difficult for us to build a bond with managers just because under Roman, we've always been sacking, chopping and screwing managers. We had the last manager that won us the title was Conte. We embraced him. We had a 16-game winning run, which was record-breaking at the time. He sued us. We brought in Sarri. It took us a while to, build a bond with him. He won us a European trophy, and we left. We had Lampard. We bonded with because he was our club captain. He took us to top 4. Things didn't work out. We brought in Tuchel. We finally had a man who I can say, yes, this pause, by the way. We finally had a man who we can say, yes, this is our guy. I can see him being here for 10 years. You are our leader. When we had our sanction situation, you were saying you'll drive the bus. You held it down. Now, for non-footballing reasons, he was sacked. It is what it is. You brought in Graham Potter, which was a downgrade in terms of just the status of managers we signed in general. Prior to Potter hire, obviously Lampard was in the transfer ban, but it just didn't match the standards. So obviously it's going to take over. And then the results weren't there, so we didn't really bond to him. You guys bringing in Pochettino, directors, again, I'm holding you guys accountable. You had 6 months to find us a new manager. Nagelsmann didn't agree with your sporting model. And you brought in Pochettino. Now, in terms of Pochettino coming in, the directors need to be held accountable. The ownership need to be held accountable for just showing the disconnect between the fans and the actual club. Because Pochettino Spurs, the fact that you brought a Spurs manager, before anything, the fans naturally are going to turn our backs towards him. We're not going to have a reason to back him from the jump. The reason you guys doing that shows you do not understand the fan base of the team you lot run. Because we had Rafa Benitez in the past who won us a Europa League trophy, who was a Champions League winner, and we didn't embrace him because he was Liverpool. And they're all the way up north. What makes you think you're going to bring us a Spurs manager? And we're going to root for that. Even if we had Emery, who's a better coach than Pochettino, I think it would have rattled our fan base just off the Arsenal connections, even though he wasn't even loved off. This is the best Spurs manager in recent history. That's their man. Same way Tuchel was our man, pause. So you doing that is a disgrace. That already showed the disconnect. Then when you guys do things, like strip away all the team leaders in our team, guys that were winners, guys that we held to a high status, say how you feel about Mason Mount, but getting rid of him, showed us the disconnect. You don't actually want to build a relationship with the fans or want to understand the fans. You're just doing decisions that don't make sense, and then you're surprised when things don't work out. But then these guys will say that they've made positive steps in fan engagement. What's fan engagement? These GRM daily videos you make before the matches with drill music playing in the back and all these little chopped and screwed transitions. So these robots that you guys pay on Twitter can post and say, oh, we're going to cook this weekend. Ooh, new trim, Jackson, new trim, he's got a blue trim. Ooh, aura. And then we lose. That's the fan engagement you're talking about. Because I can tell you for a fact, guys like Johnny Minerals, guys like Tobes, have more of a connection with the fan base than the ownership do and the directors. They have more of an understanding of the fan base. They have a fan base amongst the fan base. Those people, instead of the people you guys hire to save face, the people that actually call you guys out have respect and love from a lot of the fan base. They're match goers, season ticket holders, been there since the 80s. Because this is another thing that you guys are running around saying now, is we do not have the divine right to win trophies. That's what was said on the fan advisory board space. We do not have a divine right to win trophies. Then they brought in an Arsenal fan from America to come and talk to you guys and tell why we should trust the process, because Arsenal's process had a tough spell and it's worked out. Arsenal haven't won in 20 years. Arsenal have a longer trophy drought than us. We lost one in 2022. They didn't win since 2020 with no fans. So stop using Arsenal as why are we like judging, trying to match Arsenal, go machine with Arsenal in terms of a project, when theirs hasn't even been completed. It hasn't even been proven that it's worked out. Fair enough, they're competing. So what? You're supposed to compete. You're Arsenal. Same with Chelsea. If we were to lose the title, finish in second place, I won't be happy because we're competing. But you guys have forgotten that. But yes, when you hear these guys on the fan advisory board who say we don't have a divine right to win trophies, Roman's gone, things are different. Prior to Roman coming in, this is a little history lesson for you guys. We were European champions. I'm going to tell you how we became European champions. Prior to Roman coming in the 90s, I was born in 2000s. I'm a young man, in case you guys are wondering. But through my old man teaching me the history of this beautiful club, how I even started supporting Chelsea, because my house is West Ham and Arsenal. Me and my old man are the only Chelsea in my house. My dad sat me down and explained to me the heritage of my club. And I feel like as a fan base, a lot of young fans that watch my channel, a lot of young fans that engage with me, a lot of international fans and so forth, do your due diligence on the history of this club. Now, we had the likes of Vialli, Hullet, Zola, who were top players in the Serie A top leagues. Desai, who came and joined the club to compete. We won the FA Cup with Hullet, Gus Hullet, as our player manager. We won the FA Cup. At the time, qualifying for the FA Cup, you qualify for the European Cup Winners' Cup. Mid-season, Hullet fell out with the board, and Vialli, God rest his soul, took over as a manager and led us to European Cup Winners' Cup, beating Real Madrid in the process. We were finishing in Champions League football with the likes of Desai's, etc. at our team prior to Roman coming in. So this notion that we have no divine right to win trophies now that Roman's gone, our standards should go down a cliff, is a joke and a disgrace. We're Chelsea. Do your research. It didn't start with Roman. It don't end with Roman. We're fucking Chelsea. So when you guys are running around saying, oh yeah, we have no divine right to win trophies all of a sudden, it's a disgrace. Know your history. Because you're sinking us. Now, there's a lot I need to go through. I'm 20 minutes in. There's so much I need to go through. So now, fan enabling is another issue. So we've highlighted directors, ownership, fan enabling. We sold Jorginho, Kovacic, Kante, Havertz, Rudiger left, Christensen left. We downgraded in pretty much every position. I say this every video. I don't even have the time to go through it. Now, you look at the likes of Real Madrid. Real Madrid are running an under-25s model. You hear Real Madrid, realistically speaking, are doing the model that we think we're doing. They've brought in Jude, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, who are the next generation of their midfield. They've brought in Endrick. They've got Vinicius Jr., who was groomed into the side, pause. Rodrigo, who's groomed into the side, pause. They're linked to Euro. The difference with all these players I've named, barring Vinny, who's been groomed into the side, and Rodrigo, is they've still kept their experienced players. They still went for experienced players. Alaba, Rudiger. So if Euro was to come, he's not getting thrown in the deep end like the likes of Badiashile and whoever, these young players that are not good enough are to be started every week. They're getting their hands held by experienced players who know what the standards of the club is. Same with the midfield. Cruz, Modric are still there to help groom Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Bellingham. So they know not only the standards of what's required at the club, but you're getting phased into the team slowly for a couple years till you become an out-and-out starter, similar to the likes of Vinicius Jr. Endrick is not getting thrown in the deep end. They're bringing in Mbappe. He's gonna, do you know what I'm saying? Whereas at Chelsea, we bring in these young players who are unproven and have potential and throw them in the deep end to start every week with no experienced players. And you guys celebrate this when we sell the likes of Jorginho and Kante, etc. and Pulisic and Loftus-Cheek. Because you look at our situation. Havertz is competing for the title. Jorginho's competing for the title. Kovacic is competing for the title. Pulisic is competing for a title in in Milan. They're second in the league. Loftus-Cheek competing second in the league. And all these players I'm naming, Pulisic, Loftus-Cheek, Kante, haven't been injured all season. So there's clearly something going on there. Now, we've established, for me, the squad isn't good enough. We've all established we've downgraded. In terms of the players that we wanted gone, we wanted Werner sold. We wanted Ziyech sold. We wanted an improvement in our midfield. We wanted improvements. But we downgraded. I done a poll on Twitter the other day. Cho or Midrick, who's better? Cho won 65%. I had over 300 voters. We sold Cho for 5 million and brought Mudryk in for 88. No one of them are Chelsea standard anyway. We downgraded though. But we will do anything before we hold the players accountable. Now onto the manager. I said earlier it's a disgrace that we hired a Spurs manager. As for the manager, the truth is if I was to rate him, I feel we should be 7th. Based on the ability of these players. The fact we're 10th is unacceptable. Performances like this, performances against Burnley is unacceptable. As a manager, regardless of how shit the players are, I need to hold you accountable to a degree. Because at the end of the day, when there's player pride kick in, I also say, at the end of the day, when he wins games like he won us the game against United, he's not getting any credit for that whatsoever. And then you guys can say he's not improving any of the players. It's the system. I beg to differ. All of these players are around the same age of experience and quality, and all quality, age, and experience. I'm seeing the likes of Palmer, Gusto, Gallagher, even Sterling improve based on last year's performances and based on who they were. So why are these guys able to perform in the system and the others aren't? The truth is we need some experienced players that we can bring in and keep going. Now for the fan advisory board, the fact that when we are talking about our disdain, when Clown Lake stickers are getting paraded, when we're singing Bowley Zakan or Roman Abramovich at the stadium, we are simply not happy with the state of the club. So when the board, because fan advisory board are paid by the board, they have members who are also writers, senior writers for the Independent, who run the PR and the narratives, control all the narratives that you guys want to see. When they're completely disregarding the fans and their voices with these situations, it upsets me. Because I'm like, do you guys genuinely care for the club or not? My last thing before I leave this is the Forbes article. Todd Bowley quoted himself by saying on the Forbes article, yeah, obviously the fans care a lot. So it's frustrating because the fans care a lot. And it makes me happy because the fans care a lot. Basically meaning, obviously, we voice our concerns on him. However, the closing statement of the Forbes article says, now, win or lose, no matter what, Todd Bowley's riches will continue to grow as long as fans keep attending and showing up and getting their broadcasting. Basically saying no matter what, he's sticking to this plan. It doesn't matter what we think because we still bless me and bless my club. 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 That sneeze, those 2 sneezes that came, they were necessary. It's Sunday. I needed a blessing. This club needs a blessing. Bless me and bless this club, Lord. I declare it. As I was saying, Bowley has no care whatsoever. Same with Ekbali on the state of the club, because we're still going to buy the kits. They're still going to have influencers showing up. Even if we don't buy tickets to the game, there's going to be some tourists who want to come see London and come see Chelsea play. They're still making their profit. So until the fan base, instead of doing this whole big potch out movement, because this video is long, I need to wrap this up. Doing a big potch out movement, which is true. I do feel, if all in all, I would have preferred a Nagelsmann, a Mourinho, or a Klopp type manager. Or Xabi Alonso, I'll add to that list now. But the players, the squad building needs to be addressed, like I always say. The truth is, everyone says, is it the players? Is it the manager? Fuck them all. Keep Palmer, sell them all, sack the manager, bring me a top coach. That's the truth. Baehelpsports, man, I'm out. That's my manifesto. Love.